Inspiration for Teachers Podcast, bringing you dynamic and inspirational educator interviews. Our fascinating guests share their professional challenges and creative resolutions for success. Discover their workable strategies, ideas, and resources to reach your educational goals. And now your host, Kelly Long.
Welcome to another episode of Inspiration for Teachers. I'm your host, Kelly Long, and I have an episode of the creative kind coming up for you today. If you're new to the show, I usually have the honour of interviewing the leading educationalists. Together, we discuss a specific educational challenge that my guest has encountered and some of the solutions they have developed in order to generate new ideas and solutions to some of the challenges that you may also be struggling with at present. Once you've listened to this episode, please search back through the awesome catalogue of episodes on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher Radio, or via the website at Inspiration for Teachers to subscribe and receive our free interviews. You'll find a richness of content that is bursting with ideas, knowledge, practical solutions, and challenges. Today's episode, however, is me sharing and giving you access to some of the tools, resources, and strategies that have worked for me on a regular basis. So whilst my guests are relaxing over the summer break, I'm going to give you a sum of extra knowledge bursts. But don't worry, my guests have not gone away for long. I have a great lineup of leading educationalists joining me back on the show in September, where we will be discussing new themes around behaviour, time travel, leadership, body movement, and much more. So today we're going to focus on how to unlock creativity in your classroom. Now, I don't know where you are in terms of the creativity debate. Most likely you'll have seen Sir Ken Robinson's TED Talk on how schools kill creativity. And you may have read works on creativity such as Edward de Bono and his thinking hats, Stefan Mumar, and Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. I can never say that right, but he's very famous for discovering creativity and flow and the psychology of discovery and invention. The fact that you've chosen to listen to this episode today suggests to me that you are keen to know how to enrich creativity in your classrooms. Before we get into that, it's worth demystifying some of the myths or confusion surrounding creativity. Creativity is not just associated with the arts, it's the generation of novel, useful ideas. That means that creativity is problem solving, and that being the case, it means that it is a skill which can be taught. It means that we can enrich our classrooms by constructing creative environments where our learners thrive on problem solving to develop new, innovative ideas as part of their learning journey. The chances are that you're already doing this for your learners. Teachers are the most creative beings when it comes to developing lesson resources that deconstruct topics, rescaffold them, reassemble to help their students learn. But challenging learners to think creatively about a problem adds a new and really exciting and fun dimension to the process of learning. So let's debunk creativity. No one ever looked at a blank piece of paper and was suddenly struck by inspiration. The apple that fell on Newton's head didn't miraculously transfer the laws of gravity into his thoughts. Gravity was a problem that he was working to solve. He just received the creative nudge at the right time. As teachers, that is what we can do. Provide our students with the creative skills and nudges to develop creative problem solving. Let's try it now, and I'll show you some of the issues surrounding how to unlock creativity. Now, if you're driving, ironing, or doing any kind of extreme sport while you're listening to this episode, then please press pause and come back to it later, because you're going to need a pen and paper or something to quickly jot notes down onto. We're going to do a little creativity exercise. What I would like you to do is write down as many new ideas for a key to a house. You have 30 seconds, and you can put me on pause while you do this. I promise I will still be waiting patiently for your return. So you probably came up with 4 to 5 different answers, and some of those answers may have been fingerprint, key fob, eye detector, number code. I know this because I've asked the same question a few times and received similar responses. Now, if we look at those ideas, we could say that some of them are already in existence, some of them have been taken from movies, and some are simply improvements on an existing key. But are those ideas truly creative and innovative? The problem with this exercise is that the problem isn't really pressing. There's no need for urgency, no real problem to be solved, so our ideas most likely lack innovative solutions. We instantly start to work the problem using all the knowledge we have and the restrictions we place upon the problem. But what is the real problem here? Is it the need for a new improved key? Is it to make the access in and out of the house easier? Is it to do with safety? Or is it something else entirely? And these are just some of the issues with creativity. It requires specific guidance and restrictions in relation to a problem, because without it, we struggle to come up with creative ideas. And I'm going to add in a new word to the mix here, and that is novel ideas to solve the problem. When solving problems, we instantly look for relevancy, and that is the degree by which a problem can be solved. Now, all of the ideas that you came up with could have solved the problem, but if we are looking to be creative, we need to be looking for novelty, the real source of creativity. So how can we teach students to come up with novel ideas to a problem? How can we help them to develop the skills to go beyond the point of relevant ideas generation? How do we show them how to be creative in order to serve a greater purpose? How do we ask them to refine the skill to such an extent that it becomes habit forming and intrinsically part of who they are? We teach them the skills for creativity so they can develop novel problem solving solutions. But how do we help students to create novel ideas? There are many ways in which we can use creativity exercises in the classroom to help feed our creative prodigies, but we also need to create activities and problems that help to generate novel ideas, and we can do that by removing our learners' inhibitions, breaking down their predetermined expectations, eliminating some of the creativity boundaries. These are the skills that I have learnt, and they are the skills that you can learn too in order to unlock creativity in your classroom. So what we need to teach students is that all ideas during the creative problem-solving process are relevant to creativity, no matter how silly or ridiculous they may seem. There are no critics of an idea, because ultimately we want students to be creative, and in doing so come up with novel ideas, and not just a remodifying or rehashing of what already exists. Once we have got crazy novel ideas, we can teach them the skills to help them solve a problem using those ideas that are relevant and contextualized to the issues we are addressing. Now, there are a couple of steps you can take to begin to unlock creativity in your classroom. First, there has to be a problem to solve, real or fabricated, perhaps using gamification, but it has to be well constructed. And these problems exist in all of our subjects and across the curriculum, so you can pull problems together because it will help to generate a more richer creative environment. Next, there must be restrictions placed on the problem. So, for example, time, resources, who you can collaborate with. These are the motivating factors to help learners come up with problem-solving ideas. Next, we need to develop opportunities to push learners past the point of just coming up with relevant ideas and into the realm of novelty, showing and helping learners to flip the problem on its head. Culling. We need to teach students which ideas to scrap. Are their ideas already in existence? Were their ideas truly novel? Could they actually solve the problem? And if so, how? These are just some simple steps that you can take to begin to improve the journey of creativity in your classroom. You'll have quickly experienced that creativity has many barriers, but knowing what they are will help you to remove them. But you'll also have discovered that it is a skill, that it can be developed, and it is critical that we help our learners to do this. So, what do we need to do as teachers? And what actions do we need to take to enable creativity? What you need to do is become an enabler of creativity through your classroom environment, through the experiences you provide to your learners, and the problems you set for them by teaching them the skills of creativity. It really is an exciting process and also quite addictive. You'll find yourself doing it whilst conducting the weekly shop. I did it myself recently when observing a pop-up booth for a broadband provider. Not one person spoke to the poor sales chap. Now, was that his fault? I don't think so. As consumers, we're all too wise to the sales pitch and don't want to partake. So I turned it into a problem and began generating ideas to change the fortunes of the salesman. One man alone can't change and influence a shop full of consumers. So what would? I have my ideas on that, but what would you come up with? Better still, think what your learners could come up with. We've dabbled a fraction into the issues concerning creativity and how to unlock it in our classrooms. It is such an exciting opportunity and a skill that everyone can learn and that we can have fun with. To recap on the key creative points, you'll need to create or find problems that exist in your subject areas. You'll have to place restrictions upon them in order to stimulate creative thought processes. The problems you select need to be well constructed so that you as the teacher will know how to push your learners to go beyond the point of creating ideas that are relevant and into the creative magic zone of novelty. Finally, the skills of creative culling and how to bring a creative idea to fruition. The creative goal is to now fine-tune our thinking to help develop a creative classroom environment where we teach learners positive creative habits and how to overcome the creative hurdles they will encounter. I would love to hear your thoughts on creativity and how you're using it in your classrooms, so please tweet me at inspiration4t or drop me an email. And if you'd like to know more about creativity and how to unlock it in your classrooms, head over to the website inspirationforteachers.com and register your interest on our Unlocking Creativity page. Thanks again for joining me on another episode of Inspiration for Teachers. Don't forget to explore our amazing educator interviews, and I look forward to you joining me on the next episode.
Thank you for joining us today on Inspiration for Teachers. For more resources, tips and advice, visit our website, inspirationforteachers.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, we would love to connect with you. Just click like on our Facebook page at facebook.com/inspirationforteachers.